Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today we are continuing our Making Marianas Home series, where we feature people from around the world who have come to live in the Marianas and make it home. And our guest today is Johnny Santos Aldan, originally from the island of Pohnpei in Micronesia. Johnny, thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you, Catherine, for giving me this opportunity.
Now, you've lived here for many years. What made you decide to move to the Marianas, and how old were you at that time?
Well, I came here in 1978. And the reason why I came here is because I was going to go to school. And so I came here to attend the Community College of Micronesia School of Nursing, where the college is sitting right now. That was the Community College of Micronesia School of Nursing during that time. And so my expectation was, I need to finish school because that's when my parents wanted, and then go back to Pohnpei.
So did you finish high school in Pohnpei?
Yes, I finished high school in Pohnpei.
And what did you expect before you moved to Saipan? What did you think it was going to be like?
Well, my uncle, brother of my grandfather, came down to Pohnpei about 6 months before I was going to come over here. And so I kind of have a little background of how Saipan looks and all those things. And one of the things that I remember in our conversation, it was about the micro beach.
Really?
And so, yes. And so when I came here, that's the first thing I did. I visited Micro Beach.
Okay.
And it looked really beautiful, the white beaches and all those, good things that I normally don't see it in Pohnpei, because our beaches over there are black sand. So if we want to see white sand, we gotta get on a boat and go out to the small islands.
What were you thinking it was going to be like culture-wise?
Okay, this is one of the things that really shocked me, culture-wise. Because, growing up in Pohnpei, I always see ladies with long hair. When I came here and I went down to Chalankanoa to visit my families from here, I was very surprised because my aunties, their hairs were short. And so that kind of made me think.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel so kind of uncomfortable.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I really don't. I'm not used to seeing ladies with short hair in Pohnpei.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you? I'm thinking that's probably from the influence of Japan at that time, or America. Women tended to cut their hair short. They didn't necessarily grow it long at that time. Was there anything else that was kind of a culture shock for you, the food or anything like that?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned food. Because, in Pohnpei, one of the food that I really like is pancake.
Really?
Yes.
Pancakes made from what?
Flour.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my mom will make pancakes, and I'm used to pancakes about this size, right?
Okay.
And one day...
8 inches?
Yeah, maybe 8 inches, something like that.
Yeah.
And so one day I visited my auntie in Chalankanoa, and she was making tidichas. And I thought that was pancake because it was so big, right? And so to me, I said, man, this is the biggest pancake I've ever seen in my whole life. Just talking to me, right? So then when the tidichas was done, she said, okay, boy, you come and you eat. And I really like pancake. So I really grabbed a big chunk of that tidichas. And when I put it in my mouth, it didn't taste like the pancake I'm used to in Pohnpei. And again, I told myself, this is the ugliest tasted pancake I've ever tasted. So I looked around, I didn't want to, make my auntie feel bad, so I looked around and see where I can, throw that piece of pancake. So I saw the pig pen. And so I went over there, and when she was looking, I put it in the pig food.
And you were about how old at this time?
I was like 18 years old.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I imagine in Pohnpei, they probably were more, had different gender roles or responsibilities in the family or something like that, compared to Saipan at that time, which was maybe a little bit more westernized. Did you have to make any adjustments about that when it came to the interaction between men and women or elders and young people?
So one of the things that I grew up knowing that we are not supposed to be sitting with our parents when they're talking. Like older people when they're talking,
Mm-hmm.
the kids are not supposed to be mingling with them.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came over here, it didn't seem like that. So that made me feel happy, so that I can mingle with everybody that is around and talk to them comfortably. Not like in Pohnpei that I gotta isolate myself while my parents are talking to their friends, things like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it really didn't bother me.
So what did your education go at the Community College of Micronesia?
Okay, so I came here in 1978, and then I graduated in June of 1979, because half of my nursing program I already started in Pohnpei. So I came here to complete the other half. So I graduated in June of 1979. And then I went back to Pohnpei, but before I left here, I submitted an application to work at Dr. Torres.
Hospital.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left. I went back to Pohnpei, and I also submitted an application to work at the hospital in Pohnpei. But the hospital in Pohnpei, as they haven't called me and asked me if I want to work. Then I got a call from here, from Dr. Torres, asking me if I still want to come back and work. So I said, yes, I'm coming back. So I came back, and then I started working like a week after I came back from Pohnpei. And that's how I got situated myself till now. And then I had an opportunity to do my BSN, my Bachelor of Science in Nursing, through university in California, in a school of nursing. Yeah, and that's where I got my Bachelor of Science in Nursing through California School of Nursing. Yeah.
Did you actually physically have to attend school there? Or
no,
was it
there was a program like they bring in professors every like Christmas break and summer break, and so we were very lucky. A lot of us from CHCC were in the program to complete our BSN through that program. So, and we were the only batch, and that was it. So we finished in 1982. We graduated with a BSN in nursing. Yeah.
It seems like at that time you would have been among some of the first locals to be getting a degree in nursing. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I have like Diego Kaipat from here, and I think he was the only one that was in the class. My class didn't have anybody from here, but the class, ahead of me, that's the class that Diego Kaipat was in, but my class none. But yes, after that, the school started having some people from here, but the school didn't stay long here after my group was done, and it got moved to the Marshall Islands.
Was there anything you found difficult about getting your bachelor's?
I think the difficulty that we had during that time was, just us trying to focus ourselves to study and then learn the materials, because we were very fortunate. The CNMI government gave us educational leave. So we were going to school and at the same time getting paid.
Wow, that is very generous.
Yes, we were very lucky.
At that time, how many nurses did we have locally?
Maybe 30.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 30, not that many.
And how many of them would you say had gotten their bachelor's degree at that time?
There were I think 11 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like being a nurse in those days?
I enjoyed it sometimes, and sometimes I wish I didn't become one.
Why is that?
And that is because, you have to wait for your relief to come and relieve you in order for you to go home, right?
Right.
So one time, I was placed in pediatric to watch this hemophilia boy. And so that was my only patient. So I started working on Friday.
And can you tell us what hemophilia is?
Okay, hemophilia is a disorder of the blood where, some kids, they have this clotting factor 8 that is not working, so they tend to bleed.
They don't clot.
Yeah, they don't clot.
Yeah.
They bleed more. And so like if they hit their hand or arm on something, they will develop bruises, something like that. Yeah. So anyways, I started working on Friday. Friday midnight, nobody relieved me.
Oh, no.
Saturday morning, nobody relieved me.
Oh, no.
Saturday, 3 o'clock, nobody relieved me. Until Monday morning, and still nobody relieved me. So I said, never mind, I'm going home. So I left. But before that, I called my parents that I'm not going to come home because nobody is relieving me. So when I went home that Monday morning, my dad said, so did somebody relieve you? I said, no. And he said, so who's with the baby? I said, nobody. He said, right now, get back in your car and go back to the hospital and stay there until they find a relief for you. So those are, that's one of the times that I wish I wasn't a nurse.
Yeah. That's really, that says a lot about your dad and his values.
Yeah.
What do you think are the greatest lessons you gained from your parents?
Respect. Yeah. Be humble. And try and understand the situation. Now, we are not a wealthy family. I came from a very poor family. And so I think because of my parents, the way they are, we didn't seem to have problems like money, food, and things like that. So we were, especially myself, I was able to, do some of the things that right now when I sit down and I think back, I really thank my parents for giving me the opportunity.
What was your motivation in pursuing the nursing career and pursuing your bachelor's degree? You were one of a few that did. What motivated you?
Okay, so when I was in grade school, in elementary school, my grandfather had a cancer of the prostate. And so, I stay with him. And when he's not able to pee, the urine will be accumulated in his bladder and it becomes very uncomfortable and he will start crying. And so he will tell me, Johnny, please go to the hospital and ask somebody to come and help me with my pee. So I will walk to the hospital like maybe 2 miles, 3 miles. I will walk there, then I will tell the nurses, and then we'll come back in the ambulance. And when the nurses come, they will put a catheter in my grandfather's private part, and then drain the urine, and then after that my grandfather will feel better. So that's the thing that got me motivated to do nursing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really wanted to do first was I wanted to be a cop because my dad was a cop.
Okay.
Yeah, and he told me, no, cop is not a good job, it's dangerous.
Oh.
So I said, well, then I will become a teacher. And he said, no, we already have plenty family in the education field. So I said, so Dad, what do you want me to become? And he said, anything but those two. Yeah, so when I had that experience with my grandfather, that motivated me to do nursing.
Mm. Well, when we come back, I was hoping that you could share with us a little bit about what life was like when Dr. Torres Hospital was still in existence. Most people probably don't know. I mean, some people probably don't know where that hospital was located. But can we go back in history a little bit when we come back after the break?
Okay.
All right. We'll be back after this break.
Hafaday, Tito, and greetings from the Northern Marianas Humanities Council. This is Board Chairman Isa Ariola. We are so pleased to be celebrating our 30th anniversary this year with you. Our mission remains to navigate and explore the human experiences of the indigenous and diverse peoples of the Commonwealth by enriching their lives through research, dialogue, programs, and publications. If you have not yet participated in any of our council activities, make this your year. We look forward to welcoming you into our humanities family as we navigate the human experience together.
Welcome back to your Humanities Half Hour. We're chatting with Johnny Santos Aldan, originally from Pohnpei, but having lived here in the Marianas for so long, and it's part of our Making Marianas Home series. Johnny, you actually got married and had a family, or have a family, since you moved to Saipan.
Yeah, I am now married to a daughter of the former mayor of Saipan, Mayor Tudela. She was a nurse also.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
workplace romance?
The workplace romance, that's how we met, and and then the relationship carried on, right? So we have 4 kids. Our oldest son, his name is BJ. He's in the army. And our second oldest her name is Maylene. She's a girl. She came to the nursing program up here at the college, and she graduated. She passed her NCLEX, and now she's working in surgery department. And our third one, his name is Johnny Boy. Went to Chaminade University in Hawaii and graduated from there with a Bachelor of Science in Biology. Went on to Washington University, did his master's over there in public health. So when he was done with his master's in public health, Chaminade hired him back to Chaminade to work with them.
Wow, great.
So right now he is working with Dr. Turner. He's a research assistant with Dr. Turner, and at times he will teach as an adjunct with the public health school at Chaminade. And the youngest one, his name is Richard. He attended Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee. Graduated from there, took his MCAT. Did very well with the MCAT. So right now, he's a 3rd year in medical school in John A. Burns School of Medicine in Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think we're so blessed with those.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You are now actually a part of the nursing program faculty at Northern Marianas College. What exactly is your role as part of the faculty?
Okay, so I'm an instructor, a nursing instructor. So I teach nursing courses, with the student nurses. Yeah.
Okay. Compared to where NMC is now, back in the day, Dr. Torres Hospital was actually located there on the campus when you came on board. What was it like back then compared to what students today are experiencing?
Well, when back then, when Dr. Torres was still a hospital, the only existing school was the Community College of Micronesia School of Nursing. And I think the students really enjoyed. Like myself, I really enjoyed because one of the components of the nursing program is that we have to go to the hospital and do the hands-on, practice the skills that we learn during lecture and in the skills lab. So, because the campus is situated close to Dr. Torres, we didn't have to, hitch a ride or need a car to drive to the hospital to go and do our practicums. We just walk down there. And if you visit the college now, K building and J building was the cafeteria, and K building was the morgue. And so we would just walk up from the nursing school, the dorms, and we go and eat, meals at the Dr. Torres cafeteria, and then we just walk back down to our dorms, and we just study and go to sleep. So I think. So
there were actually dorms there also at the college.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. I hope NMC make dorm for this. Yeah. So I think the life then, going to school is pretty much easier than, life now.
Yeah.
But for study-wise, access to the materials, I think the students have better access today than my time. Because during my time, we didn't have any internet, no cell phones, no nothing. So if we want to do research, we have to actually go to the library, pull books, buy books to do research. Right now, the answers to questions is at the students' fingertips.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, back in those days, was the hospital air-conditioned?
That's one of the problems we had. The hospital back then was not air-conditioned.
Yeah, like nothing was air. Schools were not air-conditioned. Yeah. Probably
even
a lot
the
of
schools.
Offices. Yeah. I was surprised to hear that with all this you had going on, being a nurse, getting your degree, having a family, you also had time to join the Army Reserve. How did that happen?
Well, it was just kind of like, I want to join the boys. I see the boys marching on the road, riding the Humvees, and I said, man, I wanna join these guys. So, I got enlisted with them, and, went to training, have my Fort Benning training, and I also had some training in Fort Dix. And so we're all 11 Bravos over here. We're all infantry boys.
Now, were you an American citizen at that time?
No.
Okay, so you don't have to be an American citizen to
during
be
that time. No. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think somewhere in the Constitution says if you're here during the 80 to 84 or 86, then you are considered an American citizen. And so maybe that's why I was able to enter, because I came I joined the reserve in 1988.
Okay. As having spent so many years here in the Marianas, do you feel you are still in touch with your Pohnpeian culture to a great degree?
I think so.
And how were you able to maintain that?
Okay. So, my parents, they have, properties in Pohnpei. So before the pandemic, I will go back and forth to check on the properties over there. But I think the Pohnpeian year that came to Saipan, we somehow bring the culture with us. And so we continue to have little gatherings together. And I think I need to say this. In Pohnpei, we go by clans, and my mom's clan is one of the highest clan in Pohnpei. And so when we're here, and we're gonna have a little gathering among the Pohnpei people, that they continue to respect that line of, I can say maybe authority or something like that. So I can say that I'm very well respected here among the Pohnpeians. Yeah.
How did you convey your Pohnpeian culture to your kids? I'm assuming they didn't grow up at all in Pohnpei. you feel you've done a good job of helping them to understand who they are as Pohnpeians, and how were you able to do that?
Yeah, I needed to explain to them because, like, sometimes when there is a party and I'm invited to, I will be rushing my kids and rushing my wife. We need to get to this party because I don't want them to be waiting for me. Because if I'm invited to a party, they gotta wait until I get there, then we're gonna start the party. Yeah. So I have to explain to them that because of my clan, this is the reason why things are done this way. And like, over here, if you want to line up, you just go line up at the chow line, right? Or at the food. But in the Pohnpei gathering, they would always ask me to lead the line. Yeah. And my kids sometimes they would ask me, so Dad, why are they, I have to explain that to them.
Even though actually you served with my dad in the Army Reserve and you know my mother as well, this is my first time meeting you, but I have a sense you have a very peaceful, calm, and humble spirit. And I want to ask, do you feel there is something unique about Micronesia or about the Pohnpeian culture in particular that could be a benefit to the world? A lot of times we tend to assimilate things from the Western culture, all this technology and things of doing things. But in your own culture, do you feel there's anything that you might have to your people or people of Micronesia might have to that could benefit the rest of the world?
Yeah, so my dad always remind me, Johnny, everywhere you go, remember your culture. And your culture is going to get you anywhere. It's going to save you anywhere, wherever you go. And that is because, being humble, respectful, and those things that, I learned from my dad. I think those are good things that I could share. That respecting your culture is very important. And one of the things that my dad also told me was, if you don't understand your culture, then you'll never understand somebody else's. And so, when I teach my nursing students, because culture is very important in the aspect of care of patients, that's one of the things that I infuse into my lectures, that, culture is very important when we provide care to our patients. Yeah.
I have to agree, and I'm not even a nurse, but I would agree. I want to give you time before we close for any final thought.
I would like to speak a little in vernacular to my fellow Pohnpeians here on Saipan. Kasalelia mainko o kalangan ng kubur koros ap ni Melel, Power 99, Christine Perry, ay bilkak ale kalangan o pilpitata puyen ka kosaya ekis sa pulmatrail triak Ramona Iban kairala programen may sangan ranwad imenuya ay tungal pagpag ong trail chorus me patpato ta katkat pon Saipan ran pugat trail chorus paduan wangi sumaw me patpato Saipan tapil around the world COVID-19 lariman pagi kubur kalangan o men Pohnpei chorus talen nantiyang o kapayata dame atail Governor Torres kasanedik tailen muya pilyanga kita and Governor Torres COVID-19 task force imet memen wulianti Talian Health Services o pilpatangat Governor Torres and his task force o pilpagpagita sa pulmamail kubur kalangan katala tepatola o ale tok and COVID-19 kalangan and kubur koros.
It sounded to me, even though I only speak 2 words of Pohnpeian, that you were encouraging people to comply with the recommendations of the COVID task force.
Exactly.
All right.
And
Anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to say thank you, Miss Perry, and Leo Pangelinen for giving me this opportunity again. And I hope that, I make sense on the things that I share, and I hope that not only me but probably some other people can also have an opportunity to be in your show talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Johnny, for joining us today and sharing your thoughts and your experience.
Thank you.
We've been chatting today with Johnny Santos Aldan, part of our Making Marianas Home series, featuring people from around the world sharing his story about moving from Pohnpei here to the Marianas. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.